Welcome to the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. I'm your host, Chris LeBrun, helping you achieve your goals in every area of life so you can dream big, plan smart, and live fully. The biggest goals you have are not waiting on a heroic effort. They're waiting on 1,000 small ones. And the first one is a lot smaller than you think. I promise you. I want to tell you something that happened recently that I didn't think would ever happen. I passed my ham radio license exam. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ham radio? Really, Chris? And yes, really. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. There's something genuinely fascinating to me about the idea of being able to communicate across long distances without any infrastructure, without cell towers, without the internet, just radio waves and knowledge. I'm down for it, and I want it in. But every time I thought about actually pursuing the license, I'd look at what was involved and quietly talk myself out of it. And the test covers a lot of ground, pun intended for you hams out there. It's got electronics, regulations, operating procedures. It felt like a lot to take on. And I'm not really the engineering type, so it was intimidating. So I'd think about it, I'd feel out of my league, and then I'd set it aside for later. And later kept coming and going and coming and going for years. And then one day, not long ago, I just decided to stop treating it like a mountain and start treating it like a lunch break. I found an online study guide and I committed to spending time, just a little bit every single day during my lunch break. Not hours, not a weekend cram session, just a few minutes consistently over time, bite by bite by bite. Man, the puns are flying today. Whew. You know what? The test was not that bad because by the time I sat down to take it, I had already absorbed the material in small, manageable pieces. The intimidating thing became a done thing, not because I found some heroic reserve of motivation or because I magically, had all of the information that I needed just downloaded into my head, but because I showed up in small ways until it was finished. And that's the principle I want to talk to you about today. Progress is not linear, but it is cumulative. And small, consistent actions have a way of compounding into results that feel completely disproportionate to the effort any individual action required. Here's another way to think about it if you're not a geeky ham person, okay? Say you're saving up for a trip, a vacation that you really want to take. If you try to set aside the full amount in 1 or 2 paychecks right before the trip, it feels impossible. The number is too big, the sacrifice is too sharp, and most people give up before they even start. But if you pull a small amount out of every single paycheck, quietly, consistently, without drama, something interesting happens. The account grows. The trip becomes real, not because any one contribution was impressive, but because all of them together were unstoppable. Same principle, same math, same result. The reason most people underestimate the power of small steps is that small steps don't feel powerful in the moment. Studying for 15 or 20 minutes at lunch didn't feel like a lot of progress. Putting $40 into a savings account does not feel like a vacation. Going for a short run when you're training for a half marathon does not feel like race preparation. Yet each individual action taken alone seems almost too small to matter. But that's exactly the trap. You are not evaluating one action, you're building a pattern. And patterns sustained over time produce results that will genuinely surprise you. The secret, and this is the part that nobody really wants to hear, is showing up before it feels worth it. Before the savings account looks impressive, before the study sessions feel like they're adding up. You have to be willing to take the small action when it still feels small. because the compounding only works if you stay in the game long enough to see it. Here's what I want you to do this week. It's a challenge. Pick one goal that you've been treating like a mountain, something that feels too big or too intimidating to tackle all at once. And then ask yourself, what is the smallest possible action I could take towards this today? Not the action that would make a dent, not the action that would impress anyone, the smallest one, the lunch break version. Do that today, then do that again tomorrow, and then do that again the next day and the next day. And eventually you will be amazed what shows up on the other side of consistent. So we just talked about how small wins compound, how consistency over time builds something real. But here's the part they don't always talk about. Sometimes you can't actually see the wins happening. Sometimes you show up, you do the work, and the evidence of progress is just invisible. And that's when showing up gets hard. Right now, I'm training for the Ragnar Appalachian Relay in August. If you don't know, the Ragnar is a 120-mile overnight relay race. My team and I will be running through the mountains in West Virginia, which sounds amazing, but it's also a wee bit terrifying because, I'm not the fastest runner in the world, and trail running is a completely different animal. Here's the thing about trail running. It's objectively harder than road running. Your feet have to work differently. The terrain is unpredictable. You're managing elevation and roots and rocks. And when I started transitioning from road to trail, my times dropped. Not because I got worse, but because 5 miles on the trail is not the same as 5 miles on the road. So I'm out there running slower than I've been running and working harder. And my watch is telling me that I'm getting worse. And some part of me is starting to believe it. But here's the thing. I can't compare my trail pace to my road pace and expect to feel good about the work. That's not progress. That's just demoralizing. So I had to redefine what success looks like. Success isn't a faster time right now. Success is, hey, I can run 5 miles on technical terrain without stopping. Success is my legs are getting stronger for elevation. Success is I'm building the resilience I'm going to need in August when I'm running on no sleep through the mountains, passing a baton to a teammate that's counting on me to show up with something left in the tank. And that last part matters because I'm not just training for me. There are 7 other people on my team. And that means on those days when Strava says I'm slow, when the metrics feel disappointing, I still have to show up because it's not about me. It's not about the number. It's about the commitment that I made to people I respect, to my friends, to my teammates. You don't have to be a trail runner to understand this feeling. It shows up in every area of life. You've probably felt it in your career. I know I have. I've spent more than 25 years in nonprofit fundraising, and there are seasons when giving is flat. It's not dropping. It's just flat. Your donor appeals aren't moving the needle. You're refining your message. You're following up. You're showing up to appointments and meetings, and the response is just quiet. It's just meh. and you start wondering if any of it matters, if you're actually moving anything forward or pushing the same boulder up the same hill. This isn't unique to running or to fundraising. You feel it in your creative work when engagement is muted. You feel it in your relationships when you're investing in someone and the return on that investment isn't visible. You feel it in your health journey when the scale doesn't move. You feel it in your business when you're selling something or offering a service that you believe in and the sales are slow. The hard truth is that consistency doesn't always feel good. Sometimes consistency means showing up when you have zero evidence that what you're doing is working. It means trusting the work when the work isn't talking back to you. And here's what I've learned. That trust isn't blind. It's informed. It comes from understanding that some progress is invisible by design. My legs are getting stronger on the trail. My neuro pathways are rewiring. My cardiovascular system is adapting. None of that shows up in my average pace, but it's real. And with time, I will see the results. Maybe not today, but someday I will. Same thing with fundraising. You refine your message, you build relationships, you plant seeds. Some of that germination happens quietly over months. A donor you followed up with in January might not give until September. But if you only measure success by immediate response, you'll quit long before then. The invisible progress is still progress. It's just not reporting itself to you in real time. So if you're in that space right now where you're showing up, but you can't see the results, here's what I want you to do. First, redefine your metrics. Find one measure of progress that isn't dependent on immediate external feedback. For me on the trail, it's distance and terrain difficulty. It's how my body feels after a run. Find what you can measure that still matters. Okay? Second, name the commitment beyond yourself. Who else is counting on you? I'm not trying to guilt trip you, but this is to remind you that consistency isn't just about hitting a number for you to feel good. It's about showing up for the systems and people that you are part of. That matters even when no one's watching. And third, give yourself permission to trust the process without the proof. Now that is the hard one. But the work you're doing right now, even when it's invisible, is building something amazing. Your effort is compounding even when you can't see the compound interest yet. So keep showing up, not because you see the win, but because the win is there, whether you can see it or not. Okay? That's it for the show today. Check out the show notes. I'll have those at holisticproductivity.com/65. Lots of great information there. You can find that online. Now make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. You can watch all of these episodes there, so check that out on YouTube. And I've got new episodes that drop every single week. You do not want to miss those. So that's why like, follow, and subscribe is so important. If you got any value from today and think, you know what, I bet somebody else would like to see that, well, you can share it, of course. But another way of letting people see that is with a 5-star rating. That just helps everybody see the podcast and know that this is quality stuff that somebody is getting benefit from. I'd love to have you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube, Substack. You can find me at Wholistic Productivity. Okay, so a lot of great productivity tips throughout the week. There's motivation there. There's things to just keep you going. So check that out on all of those platforms. And if you're looking for community of people who are achieving goals, are struggling with goals, or trying to find that payoff from the consistency, I'd love to see you in the Holistic Productivity community online. Absolutely free. A lot of great people from around the world. I've got a bunch of resources there. You do not want to miss this. Find the link in the show notes. Go join the community. It is a support group, and we would love to have you be part of it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. The reason that I do this, the reason that I encourage you to stay consistent with your goals is so that you can dream big, plan smart, and live fully. And I know that when you do that, you will be so amazed and happy at the results. And that's what I'm hoping for you. So until next time, have a great week. We will see you in the next episode. Cheers.